You belong on every ground your feet grace, so don't ever feel out of place. Take up space and belong. This earth is your birthplace. But in episode 11 starts off with Hannah and Nick talking about his conversation with Katie. She wanted to know what happened. What were y'all talking about? Y'all were talking for a long time. What was being said? And Nick was basically telling her, like, we just talked about, the fact that we were both each other's number one for the first 3 days, and then it just fell off, and I kind of just wanted to know what happened. And Hannah doesn't understand why Nick would want to know what happened, because you got me, so why do you care? And I understand where she was coming from, but at the same time, you know, I don't know that experience because I've never been there, but I could only imagine um when you're dating people in the way that they do, and you have a great connection with them, and then it just falls off and you end up just kind of gravitating towards somebody else and not really knowing what happened to that person, how that could affect you. So I understand where both of them are coming from or whatever. I don't, she just wanted to know if they were flirting. I feel like Hannah was insecure because of the way that Katie looked, and she just wanted to make sure that Nick wasn't being sneaky or whatever. She ended up saying that she didn't trust Katie, and she didn't know if she could trust Nick or whatever. You could tell Nick that Nick felt some type of way about the way she was coming at him, because he felt like he didn't do anything wrong, but she always was coming at him hard and drilling into him, and it just was, she's relentless with it. And I hate that most of the time he would say, it's fine, it's okay. I like that you're direct. No, you're not. Now we understand why. After I watched the reunion, now I know why he was doing that. But we'll get into that later. But then it goes to Garrett and Taylor meeting Garrett meeting Taylor's family, and it being a success. They ended up liking him. A lot of the reservations that they had kind of like went away, I think, with that visit. Now it was just his family who didn't necessarily dislike Taylor. They just didn't like the fact that he went on that show, and now you're about to marry somebody after only knowing them for a couple of weeks, which is also um Ashley, it goes to Ashley and Tyler, and it pretty much shows them in a better place. They have moved on from the situation with the babies, and now they're happy and laughing and having fun with each other. And like I always say, when I see Ashley and Tyler existing outside of the drama that was going on social media, which is why I didn't really want to feed into the drama that was going on social media. I wanted to enjoy the show. Sometimes social media ruins that experience. I'm not a reviewer that goes behind the scenes and get the gossip. That's not what I do. I do the entertainment part of these shows, just looking at the shows directly and going by how I feel about how the couples are interacting on the show. Now they did talk about that situation with the babies, and I gave my perspective on that, but I just feel like I kind of tried to stay away from what was going on behind the scenes, because I knew it would affect the way that I saw Tyler, and I'm gonna get to why that was important for me to say later on. So, uh, next, Nick meets Hannah's friends, and they grill him just like she was. I kind of feel like her friends are enablers. Like, they're all mean girls. You can tell they were just like, why is this so hard? And I understand the questions that this is how I feel. I don't feel like the reservations Hannah had about Nick came out of nowhere. I'm not saying that Nick was perfect. I feel like everything she said was valid and it was true. It was how she said it. It was how it came out. The way she would just be relentless with it. Like, you already talked to him about these things. I felt like in some ways Nick was trying to improve or whatever, but at the same time, it's like even if I do try to do something, I don't do it right. So like, what's the point? So I could see him, just not doing it because he's afraid of her criticizing him, because she always criticizing him. And I do feel like that can happen. Like, I feel like he, even though I do feel like a lot of it was weaponized incompetence, I also feel like there was a apprehension there. Like, I don't want to do it because then she gonna criticize me about it or whatever. But it doesn't excuse the fact that he didn't know how to do anything. Nick and Hannah should have broken up as soon as after Cabo. They should have called it quits. They were not compatible with each other. They should have broken up. So next it goes to Garrett and Taylor talking to her mom, and she welcomes him into the family and says that she's happy for Taylor, and she's happy to have Garrett as a son-in-law because he's a great person. I love Garrett and Taylor's relationship, and I'm glad that they stuck things out and they actually got married, and it seems like they're doing well, because I feel like Garrett loved Taylor so much that he was willing to do things that a lot of guys wouldn't do for a woman because of gender roles and, oh, I'm the man, so you're supposed to move here. Even though in the reunion they said that they didn't move to San Diego, they found a neutral spot. They compromised, which is better, right? Because that's what you're supposed to do in a relationship. But I just feel like he felt so sure about her that he was willing to even move away from his family to be with her. And that is commendable, because a lot of men are not like that. Like, a lot of men are not. They usually don't do stuff like that. It's, I'm the man, you're supposed to move with me and my family and stuff like that. But I feel like Garrett, he did not want to be in her life. So it goes back to Hannah talking to her mother about the doubts she was having about Nick. While everybody else is dress shopping or is supposed to be dress shopping, she's still weighing her options, and I feel like she didn't feel strongly about her relationship with Nick, so she didn't go. And I feel like in this moment, Hannah has decided that she's not getting married. So the girls go dress shopping and the guys go shopping for tux. And it's a emotional experience, as it usually is. Their moms and, friends and family are there supporting them, and they're having different conversations and stuff like that, reflecting on the experiences that they've had with the person that they're getting married to, and thinking about the future. And it was really beautiful, the moment that Ashley had with her mother, the moment that even Marissa had with her mom. Like, Marissa's mom was very apprehensive, I could tell. I don't think she liked Ramsey. I feel like she thought that he was too perfect, and she was right. She was right to have doubts. Sometimes a person could come across as too good to be true, and I feel like Ramsey's was that person. He did come off as too good to be true, and Marissa had to find out the hard way. But her mom was happy to see her in the wedding dress and like getting the fairy tale life she always wanted. Marissa was in love. Marissa loved Ramsey. She was all in. You could see it all over her face. You could see it in her body language. Everything about her. She loved him. She really did. The way that he did her was messed up, but we'll get more into that. Okay. Hannah and Nick sits down and have a conversation about, the doubts she's been having. Of course, she takes this opportunity to dig into him again and tell him all of his shortcomings and why she don't want to be with him and all of these things or whatever. And I have something that I want to say too about women and the excuses that y'all make to make stupid decisions and wonder why y'all get why a lot of these men don't take y'all serious, cuz y'all will talk all this junk and then do stupid stuff and then make excuses for why you did it. But we'll get there too. Marissa and Ramses talk about roles and obligations. Like they're on a boat, supposedly on a date or whatever, and she's telling him about how she feels like she is carrying the load in a relationship and he's not really doing much. And he basically says that um he is focused on the most important thing, which is if the two of them are straight. And it's like that's important, but also planning your wedding and making sure that your life together is going to be set, like y'all setting that foundation for y'all to build on, that's also important. And I want to say this, men like Ramses who try to make it seem like they're so different from men who are more like hyper masculine, the military masculine that they were saying, they have this facade of being different and being for women and being for women's rights and equality, and forget the gender roles and like we don't fit into those boxes, but they still do the same thing that most men do, which is nothing in a relationship. They don't put forth the effort, but you try to make it seem like you're different, like you're different from other men, but you go and you do the same things that other men do. You don't put in the effort. You leave the load on the woman to carry the relationship, and but you want to be looked at as different. You're not. You're not. So Ashley and Tyler go skydiving. And at first he's really nervous, but once he does it, he's excited, and you can see that it really was a great experience and it was fun, and that's something that I would do as well. I don't know how my body would react to it, but I will still do it because me and sickle cell go together like this. 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 So I can do anything that I want to do. I don't care about the rules, okay? But like it was a fun experience, and it was nice seeing them do something that was fun after that heavy conversation that they had and that obstacle that they had to get across. And now that I saw the reunion and hear and I heard what Tyler said and like him explaining himself, I have something that I want to say about that. But like I said, we'll get to that part about the other stuff when we get to the reunion part. Okay. Taylor and Garrett go on a date, and they're just talking about how solidified and how sure they are about each other, and how they're looking forward to being married to each other and spending the rest of their life together. And you can just tell that this is a for sure thing, and I'm happy for them. So the episode ends with Ramses and Marissa have a conversation, and it wasn't really clear what they were talking about. Some of these parts, I really hate how they cut some parts out or they don't record some parts, and you just kind of have to fill in the blanks yourself. But I don't really understand how Ramses got to the point of feeling like his energy and Marissa's energy could not coexist. But at the same time, I know where I do know exactly the point where he realized that, and that was when he met her family, when he met her mom and her siblings, because he made a comment saying that he was like, your whole family has like overwhelming energy or whatever, and she just kind of like told him that her mom needed therapy, which was true, but at the same time she just kind of laughed it off. And he was like, yeah, your family, he basically was telling her, your whole family is a lot, you're a lot, and your whole family is a lot. But instead of Ramses standing on that and having that conversation with her right then, he didn't. I feel like the reason why he stuck in there as long as he did was because of the sex. Sex was a huge topic in their relationship the entire time. When he wasn't able to have sex with her, they had to have a serious conversation about it. That time when she was not in the mood and he was making it seem like oh, this is something that I'm going to have to worry about in our relationship. And I don't know if I can deal with that. You not wanting to have sex sometimes. Him making a big deal about it. I feel like the reason why he stuck around so long was because they were having great sex. And you could tell in moments whenever they would have disagreements or arguments, you can tell that the thing that solved their problem was sex. You could tell. You could just feel that energy between the two of them whenever they would, like, 1 minute disagreeing about something, or they're talking about something. I'm not gonna say disagreeing, and then the next it's all over each other, kissing each other, all of this. They had a hypersexual relationship, and I think that got in the way of things. I also think that it also made Ramses hold on too long when he knew that he felt like she was too much for him. Like, but Marissa was so in love that when he said that about her family, she just kind of laughed it off and was like, I know. Nah, you should have been really paying attention to what he was saying. But that episode ended with them, having that conversation. So episode 12 begins with them still having that conversation, and he's like talking in circles and making excuses for why he don't feel like it's gonna work. She keeps asking him, what exactly is the problem? Because you keep saying that there's an issue, but you're not giving me anything tangible to work with. Name the problems. And he couldn't. And then eventually he finally said, I don't feel like my energy and your energy could coexist in this relationship. And it hit her, because you're saying that. Then he tells her that she's sometimes too much for him. Hearing that you're too much for somebody is the same as hearing that you're not enough. To me, they're both the same thing. When somebody is telling you that you're too much, oh, you come off too intense, your love is too big, and you require too much attention, I have to reassure you a lot. I didn't get the vibe that Marissa was needy. He actually came off being more needy to me than she did. I just feel like she's a big ball of energy and she's always up. And then when she's down, you can feel that too. I just feel like she has really strong energy. I have strong energy as well. I'm not a bubbly, upbeat person. I'm more of a laid back person, but I feel like whenever I'm in a space where I'm not doing well, you're going to feel that too. And a lot of times men don't like dealing with our trauma and our energy and a lot of the things that come with us. When we're going through issues, they expect us to just ignore those things and cater to their needs. And I feel like that's where Ramses I feel like that was one of the issues with him. I feel like there were moments when he wanted her to cater to his needs, regardless of how she was feeling and what she was going through. And I also feel like her having this like upbeat, bubbly personality, I never saw where I felt like Ramses thought that she was too much for him. I never got that picture. He was always on her. Like, the connection, the way that they meshed together, and I actually felt like their energies went well together. And I felt like he was making a lot of excuses for why he didn't want to be with her. And I feel like I said, in the moment where he met her family, he already knew that that was something that he didn't really want to deal with. But he stuck in there longer. I think because I think he actually liked her. Yeah, I think he had feelings for her too, but I also think he stuck in there longer because they were having great sex and because they did have a good connection. It was just sometimes he couldn't deal with her energy, and like telling a woman that she's too much for you is the same as telling a woman that she's not enough. It's the same things. You're essentially still saying that you're not the one for me because I can't take your personality. I can't take the fact that your love is so intense and you feel things so deeply, and every issue with you is important and dramatic, and you take up a lot of space in a room, and I feel like I don't have space in the room. Basically, that's expecting the same thing as expecting a woman to shrink herself to stroke your ego and make you feel good, even if they're not in that space. So I feel like the things that he was saying were a bunch of BS. Um, but I am happy that Ramses broke it off with Marissa before they walked down the aisle, because that would have been, to me, the equivalent of what Clay did to AD, and it would have pissed me off. Um, did I see this coming? No, because the whole time he was reassuring her that he wanted to be with her and he wanted to get married and he didn't have doubts. She kept asking him. He kept saying that he was sure. And then the day before, you change your mind. Like, she already went dress shopping. Finally, her mom was on board and all of these things. And you wait until the day before to tell her this. It was very disappointing. The way that Ramses handled that situation was very disappointing. And I feel like he just was trying to find out because he wasn't ready. And Marissa said something that made a lot of sense to me. She told him, you should have never came on this show because you're the type of person who needs to be with somebody for at least a year before you know that you want to get married. And I 100% agree. He's one of those people that need to date for a long time before they make a commitment. Because whenever they would have the kids conversation, and it's just a lot of stuff about Ramses that did not go with the way he portrayed himself. He portrays himself as this modern man, this man that, wants equality for women. He's a feminist and he believes in women's rights and stuff like that. But actually, he's not. He's no different than the men who don't really like women. No different. Aside from the fact that aside from the way that he dresses, the way that he wears his hair, that's the only difference. The guys go to a basketball game for their bachelor party and they had a good time. They had fun. They got to participate in the basketball game, and you could tell that they enjoyed themselves, and I like that. That was really different for a bachelor party. I really like that. And then of course the girls had a bachelorette party, Taylor and Ashley, and they also had a good time as well. These two couples I knew were going to get married. They were saying that they were going to get married while they were in the pods. I just knew that they were going to get married. And I'm happy for both of them. I'm happy for Ashley and Tyler as well. So now they're getting ready to get married, and Ashley and Tyler get married first, and their wedding is very beautiful. The vows that they read were really beautiful. Ashley was really happy and I was happy for her. One thing I'm going to say about Tyler is there was never a moment where I doubted that he loved Ashley or that his intentions were not to marry her. I never thought that he was lying, except for the fact that he was saying he was celibate. That part, I believe, was a lie. But I never thought that his feelings for her were fake. I always felt like he was genuine about his feelings for her. I always felt like he was in love, and he even to the point of obsession. He was obsessed with Ashley. He thought that he was the luckiest guy in the world to have found a woman like her. I believe that wholeheartedly. The problem is, they literally talked about having kids every day, and he waited until he earned not just her trust, but her family's trust to tell her that. I didn't like that part, and that part does make me side eye him a little bit, because if things happen the way that he said it happened, why did you lie about it? You could have just told her the truth from the jump. And I feel like Ashley would have understood. She would have stuck beside him no matter what. There was nothing that Tyler couldn't have told Ashley that she wasn't willing to work through. And at first I thought that made her, I ain't gonna say naive. I thought that made her, I don't know, too eager. I'm not gonna say desperate either, because she don't give desperate. But now I just understand that Ashley was so sure in her love for Tyler and his love for her that she was willing to take this risk and potentially have to deal with this drama to be with this person, because she felt like she was never going to find that again. I respect that. I feel like when we look at these shows and we see things happening, a lot of times we don't really know what's going on behind the scenes. We just see what they show us, what they want us to see, and they want us to speculate about what's going on. And I'm going to say this. If Ashley says that no one knows Tyler the way that she does, I trust her wholeheartedly. She doesn't come across as someone who doesn't make good decisions and someone who doesn't have good instincts. She seemed to be very intelligent. She seemed to be kind-hearted, compassionate, empathetic. And I trust that if she chose to stay with Tyler, then he was worth it. And that's all I'm going to say about that situation in this episode. But then it goes to Garrett and Taylor's wedding. They're getting ready for their wedding. And Garrett has an emotional moment with Taylor's dad. And I thought it was so sweet. And, he shared some tears. And he was telling her about how blessed he was to have Taylor. And how happy he is that Taylor found him. And how happy he is to have him as a son-in-law. But it was a beautiful moment. The wedding was beautiful. The little jokes and stuff that they made at the altar, I just love them. I love their banter. I love that they don't take things so seriously and they don't allow certain things to affect their relationship. They are very good at communicating how they feel and talking through their issues. And even when it came down to the family having doubts, they decided to trust in each other and make the best decision for each other. And I really respect them for that. And I'm happy for them. Okay. So the two couples get married. That ends. It was beautiful. Episode 11 and 12 were really good. But let me know what y'all think about both of those episodes. Do y'all think that Ramses, the excuses that Ramses used was a cop-out, or do y'all understand why he broke it off with Marissa? Also, did y'all see that coming? Like, were y'all surprised by him doing that? I wasn't really shocked. I was just really disappointed. And also, before you go, check out my website at srgrahamwrites.org and subscribe to my mailing list to get exclusive updates on works in progress, other news, and blog posts. Thank you.